Welcome to the D-Minus Diaries, Episode 6. We hope you enjoy this audio version while you drive, ride, roam, or drone. Epstein and You, The Wilderness of Mirrors by Jim Jones. Think back to the last time someone accused you of something you did not do. It might have been small. It might have been life-changing. You remember the feeling. Your heart jumped. Your face got hot. For a moment, the whole world tilted, and you were trapped inside a story someone else created for you. Hold that moment for a second. The truth is simple. The Jeffrey Epstein story is not really about Jeffrey Epstein. It is about you. It is about how fast a name can be dragged through the court of public opinion before a courtroom ever hears a single fact. It is about how quickly the crowd can destroy someone from the first headline to the final comment thread. And it is about a country that has forgotten what justice is supposed to feel like. For context, the Epstein case did not appear out of thin air. It began in March 2005 when Palm Beach police opened an investigation after the parents of a 14-year-old girl reported that Epstein had paid her for a massage that led to sexual abuse. By May 2006, the Bush administration's Department of Justice, DOJ, stepped in, and the FBI launched a federal investigation called Operation Leap Year. Local law enforcement had already uncovered enough evidence to raise alarms, and the federal government moved in to investigate the larger pattern of abuse involving minors. Deals were cut, and a little time here and there was served. We all know the phrase, innocent until proven guilty. It is not just a slogan, it is a constitutional promise built into the 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendments. The Supreme Court even wrote it plainly in 1895 during Coffin v. United States. Somewhere along the way, that promise faded. The crowd became louder than the judge. The camera became stronger than the courtroom. The perp walk became the verdict, and the mob never waits for the truth. People today judge others with a kind of emotional violence. One accusation becomes a pile of attacks until the person can no longer breathe. We forgot the meanings of the words mercy and grace. Even Jesus said, "He who is without sin cast the first stone," yet America seems to have a stone in each hand and a spare in the back pocket. Most of us know what it feels like to be falsely accused, a rumor, a misunderstanding, a little gossip passed along as fact, a moment ripped out of context. We know the sting, we know the panic. We know what it feels like when someone decides who we are before they ever hear our side, and yet we turn around and do the very same thing to strangers the moment their names hit the news. There is another uncomfortable truth no one likes to say out loud. Sometimes tragedy includes moments where responsibility is shared, even when no one intended harm. Life is complicated. I learned that the hardest way a father can learn anything. My daughter was killed at 14. After taking an airplane ride, she walked into the propeller of a plane after a pilot told her to get out with no supervision and no guidance. It was the worst day of my life. I did not go after the pilot to crush him, and I did not try to ruin the owners. I sought accountability and hopefully a way to prevent something like this from happening to someone else. In the aftermath, the lawyers explained that in some states, including North Carolina where it happened, the law can consider what everyone involved did in an accident, even when the person is a minor. Hearing that nearly broke me. But it also taught me something I have never forgotten. My daughter did not deserve to die. Nothing she did caused what happened. And still, there were moments, decisions, and circumstances that collided in a way none of us could undo. Acknowledging that truth was not about blame. It was about honesty. That same honesty matters here. Jeffrey Epstein was accused of serious crimes. He pleaded guilty to state charges in Florida and later faced federal allegations he never lived to answer for in court. Those accusations were disturbing and deserved a full public trial. Nothing in this discussion is meant to excuse criminal behavior. It is meant to remind us that justice requires proof, process, and accountability, not verdicts delivered by headlines or public outrage. Real justice holds people fully accountable for what can be proven, while still recognizing that life is complicated, people are human, and tragedies are rarely the result of a single moment or a single person alone. This idea applies when a teenager gets on a private jet with wealthy strangers and flies to an island. They did not create the crime, they did not deserve what happened, but there were choices made along the way. Choices no one wants to talk about because it complicates the narrative. Real life is messy and painful. It is a web of responsibility that no headline can capture. Another reason America cannot look away from the Epstein story is that many people react to it through emotional triggers rather than facts. Much of that reaction comes from personal, relatable experiences, not from a full understanding of the case, especially since many of the facts are still unknown. A trigger is an emotional shortcut that fires before logic has time to speak. People worry, they obsess, they carry weight they were never meant to carry. Over time, that weight turns into anxiety, depression, alcohol abuse, and a constant sense of doom about a world they are not actually part of. Most people did not care about Epstein until the media pounded the story into their heads day after day. A stranger's alleged crimes became their personal stress. In modern media, attention is currency. Headlines are crafted as clickbait, designed to provoke emotion first and thought second, triggering reactions much like Pavlov's dog responding to a bell. Then there is the political side. The executive branch holds the files, chooses what to release, and shapes the public narrative. The legislative branch issues subpoenas, demands transparency, and launches its own investigations. Both sides use the case to support their arguments, campaigns, and goals. It does not matter who is in office. Every administration touched the story in some way. Some pushed it forward, some pushed it aside. Some tried to release things slowly to shape the picture. What started as a salad bowl of facts turned into a soup of leaks, politics, fear, and half-truths. Even the current president reluctantly signed the congressional bill requiring the release of the Epstein files. It was not a moment of clarity. It was a moment of pressure. Congress pushed, the public demanded answers, and the White House did not want to appear as if it were hiding anything. When a president signs a bill with hesitation, it tells you everything about how tangled and explosive this case has become. The political fallout has crossed party lines, too. Members of Congress, on both sides, have felt the pressure. One of the clearest examples is Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia, who announced she will resign in early 2026 after clashing with the White House over her support for releasing the Epstein files. When lawmakers in different parties start taking hits for the same issue, it tells you the story is bigger than politics. It shows how tangled, sensitive, and far-reaching this case has become. The wilderness of mirrors. This story almost feels like a strange James Bond movie. You have a man who rose from obscurity to become a billionaire. He owned a private island and jets. Political figures, captains of industry, royalty, high-profile celebrities, and, according to some reporting, intelligence-linked individuals all moved through his inner circle. There is also the shadow of intelligence agencies. It has been reported that senior operatives stayed in his homes. None of this proves he was a formal asset for any government, but it raises the possibility that he was connected to something larger. If Epstein's operation resembled a honeypot, even loosely, it would represent one of the most effective influence or compromise campaigns imaginable. It could have touched national security, it could have reached into governments around the world. And at least one prince lost his title because of his association with it. In intelligence terms, a honeypot is not a romantic cliché, it is a method of influence and compromise. It works by using access, indulgence, or temptation to gather leverage over powerful people. The leverage may be information, photographs, recordings, or simply the knowledge that someone crossed a line they cannot publicly explain. The goal is not always blackmail. Sometimes it is influence, sometimes silence, sometimes cooperation. If even part of this is true, then the Epstein story stops being only about crime. It becomes a national security issue. That is why people cannot look away. Crimes shock us, but threats to a nation unsettle us. This case suggests the possibility that influence, compromise, and leverage may have reached into the highest levels of power. That concern goes far beyond criminal behavior. It strikes at trust, sovereignty, and the stability of a democratic system. If that is the case, then the victims are not only those directly harmed, the public becomes a victim as well. You become a stakeholder. What begins with allegations of sexual predation expands into questions of influence, coercion, and betrayal. It moves from crime into the realm of compromised institutions, eroded trust, and the fear that decisions affecting millions may have been shaped behind closed doors. When that line is crossed, this is no longer just a criminal story. It becomes a question of whether a nation can protect itself from corruption without ever knowing how deep it runs. This brings us to the part no one likes to think about. When a justice system fails, a society begins to fall. Trust dies, fear grows. A country can survive hardship and change, but it cannot survive the loss of faith in its own courts. And once that trust is gone, the next targets are not politicians or celebrities. They are your neighbors, your friends, your family, and sooner or later the target is you. That is why this story matters. The purpose of this article is simple. If a person cannot be proven guilty, then they are innocent, period. That is how our system is supposed to work. Justice is not unlimited curiosity. It has boundaries, standards, and due process. You cannot keep chasing people without evidence. You cannot keep digging simply because you dislike the person, the people around them, or the conclusions you have not yet reached. That is not justice. That is a witch hunt. And witch hunts always end the same way. Everyone gets burned. There is a reason our system places limits on investigations, public disclosures, and even grand jury proceedings. Those limits exist to protect the innocent, preserve fair trials, and prevent reputations from being destroyed without proof. When private citizens, media outlets, or even lawmakers continue to dig indefinitely in the name of justice, they risk stepping outside the law and into something far more dangerous. There is also the reaction from President Trump, who tried to push the Epstein story off the front page by calling it a nothing story. Some believe he did that to protect the idea that not every name appearing in a document deserves a public execution. Others believe he was trying to hide something. The truth is that we do not know. And until every file is released, if that day ever comes, we may never know whether he was defending himself, defending others, or defending the principle of innocent until proven guilty. Time will be the judge. In this country, a life can be ruined in the time it takes to walk from the back of a police car to the courthouse door. Once the perp walk hits the news, the verdict is already decided in the minds of millions. By the time the real verdict arrives, no one is listening anymore. Law enforcement agencies often release mugshots immediately, long before a jury ever hears the case. Those images are shared endlessly, stripped of context and frozen in time. Even if charges are dropped or a person is found not guilty, the image never goes away. In a system built on the idea of innocent until proven guilty, we should question whether turning arrests into public spectacles serves justice at all. Before you close this page, I want to ask you something. Think back to a time when you or someone you love was falsely accused of something. A child, a parent, a friend, a coworker. What happened? How did it feel? If you are willing, share it in the comments. Your story might remind someone else to slow down before they judge the next stranger. The truth is simple. We do not just need better justice, we need better hearts. Final thought. It should not take more than 20 years to determine whether a minor has been raped, abused, abducted, or otherwise victimized by a crime. The Sixth Amendment states that in all criminal prosecutions, the accused has a right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury, along with other protections such as the right to counsel and to confront witnesses. In this matter, Mr. Epstein, the victims, the parents, the citizenry, and the justice system should be asking why this case took so long that it will never get a fair day in court, and at the end of this there will be no justice, which leads to one final thought. Is there such a thing in America as real justice? If this resonated with you, please like the heart button, subscribe, and share it with someone else who needs to hear it. Thanks for listening. Jim D-Minus Jones.